And I'm going to tell you a secret. The Wire is not as good as people say. But, okay.
That's where you're wrong. The only acceptable answer for top best TV show of all time is either Sopranos or The Wire. You can find me on that. I only accept Sopranos. I'll throw Breaking Bad in that list too.
Oh, gosh, how nice of you.
One of those three. You want to say one of those three? Maybe Better Call Saul.
So,
Maybe.
so I was always a huge fan of Breaking Bad, and I really didn't think you could do better. But I think Better Call Saul may be better.
Well, it helps that they did done Breaking Bad and they experienced. Okay, that's how we make a good show.
Yeah.
Now we take that and we don't have to do all the. We can expand on it.
Yeah, the next time I do a watch through of that, there's a watch list.
That's what I was going to do. Watch it in the
I'm
right
gonna watch
order.
it in the watch list order.
Yeah.
Because you watch a certain amount of Breaking Bad, and then you watch Saul, then you watch more Breaking Bad, and then you finish
that might be
Saul.
kind of fun.
And
Yeah.
The second season of Breaking Bad meets halfway through the end of Better Call Saul, and then the actual ending.
Let's see. Make sure we're getting the right audio. Roadcaster. Hello, 1 2 3 1 2 3. Hey, what's up, guys?
I haven't seen it all the way through. I want to watch it all the way through. I want to watch that all the way through, and then I need to watch. I watched Breaking Bad, but I watched it all broken
Turn
up.
him up. Can you turn him up just a tad? Jordan, Artie, hello.
Hey, everybody in the chat.
All right, just double checking, making sure everything's good.
Hey, Jordan. Hey, Artie.
Good. Yeah.
Hey, Luke.
thank y'all
There's
for being
Luke.
here.
Yeah. Hey, Luke.
I don't remember what last weekend caused. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. I've had rods put in my back. I've had
Oh, you've been through it.
all kinds of stuff.
We done with the pity party?
Yeah, I'm done with it. Okay, so we have season 7, episode 13, and then I have a thing about
13?
Right?
No, we're on 12.
I thought 13, Queasy Rider,
Oh, is it 13?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it is 13 then. Yeah.
and then
That's my fault.
you throw me off, man. You freak me out because I've been wrong several times.
It was the ABE that messed me up.
I got you. And then I've got a thing about Luann and a small thing about unintelligible words. So there we go.
Is it
Luke
about
says,
Luann's
yo.
name?
Artie says, hey, Rusty. Hey,
Is that
Mason.
Luann thing about her last name?
Huh?
Is that about her name and Luby's?
Yeah.
I did that. I did that last week.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right.
That's what I did
I
on
didn't
my
realize you did that
filling
last
my
week.
filling day. I did that.
Okay. Yeah, that's what that.
Yeah, about the Luann platter and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Good enough. Well, we got this one. We're good.
No, we'll make it.
Glad
yeah,
I
we'll
did
make
twice.
it.
All right, here we go, gentlemen, ladies, people of all creeds and colors and nations.
we
let's get this sucker
Matanye.
going.
Except Germany.
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hello, pretty people. How are
Bwaaa.
you? Welcome to Bwaaa, King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I am Rusty.
Rusty, thank you for covering for me last week.
Yeah, no
I want to
worries.
say hi ho to everybody that was here. Sorry, I was not here. Was not. I remember what it was. I had to go to Austin last week Friday, I had some electrodes put in my spine.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then they rip them out on Tuesday, and then they say, how'd that work? And then it's 4 to 6 weeks before they can resubmit to the insurance company, and it's a whole mess.
Yeah, it sounds wild.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty
and I
crazy.
don't know that it's doing what they're telling me it's doing. You've got two different things on this thing, and we'll talk about more on Friday. But they give you a little iPod, and they go, "Oh, here's your iPod." And I was like, well, "It's a freaking iPod," but okay. And then you turn it on, and you can't feel it. But then there's another thing you can turn it to where your whole body tingles. I'm like, I don't know that I could do that, though. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go.
I was in a box. Hello. Thank you guys for being here. We really
Wimatanye.
appreciate it. Yeah. Wimatanye to all of you folks. All right, so we are on King of the Hill, Season 7, Episode 13, or in the year of our Lord 7 ABE 10. This is Queasy Rider. Originally aired February 16, 2003.
Yep, episode 139.
You know, something I've not mentioned. Bless you. He almost
Allergy. It's allergy season outside
boy,
right
it's
now.
rough.
It's
yeah.
rough.
Something I haven't mentioned in a while. We've not had bells, yells in quite a bit.
Oh, it's been some seasons.
You know,
It
no
feels
bells, no
like.
yells, and we've just not had any.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a really, really long time. The cool, you know what I like about this episode? So we talk about Wes Archer a lot.
Yeah.
About his art direction, stuff
What's up,
like
Rusty?
that. This is actually an episode that he himself directed.
Okay.
It was written by Kit Boss.
This is Wes Archer and
There
Clay
was a
Hall,
couple
right?
other writers too.
Yeah.
Kit Boss, and it was directed by Wes Archer. But I'm pretty sure there was other writers on the writer list. But either way, yeah, written by Kit Boss, directed by Wes Archer.
Yeah, IMDb just tells us it's Mike Judge, Greg Daniels, and Kit Boss. So
Okay, so maybe it was just them then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're always going to get Judge and Daniels on there. Kit Boss just happens to be like the guy in the room that they let have a pen this time. After attending couples counseling, Hank and Peggy buy a motorcycle and head for Sturgis, South Dakota to attend a giant biker rally, but trouble erupts when Hank refuses to allow Peggy to do the driving. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So-
Actually, Kit Boss, just some fun facts about him real fast. He worked on Bob's Burger as
Kit
one
Boss
of
fun
the
facts.
shows that he worked on. He worked on iZombie. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was a CW show. This girl's a zombie, but she's in love with this boy, and anyway.
I guess he wrote an episode for Lucky Louie.
Lucky Louie, I remember that.
Louis C.K. show.
Uh-huh.
He did some writing for that. He did some writing for Bill Nye the Science Guy for a year. Worked on some Seinfeld. Fired Up.
Yeah.
Never heard of that one.
Well, he's worked a lot, it looks like.
Yeah, he's got some work.
So Luke says something about the episode leaving a lot to be desired, and I would be right there with you, Luke. I think this is more of a filler. It doesn't. It
Yeah,
brings
not
up
ex-
some
it's not very
tropes that
exciting.
I'm not super familiar with, as far as like them having marital issues and stuff. It felt kind of out of place. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree.
So-
There's some out of place stuff.
But let's go. Let's revisit season 7, episode 13, Queasy Rider, and see what happens here.
Which Queasy Rider, again, that's a play on the Easy Rider movie.
Dennis Hopper and whatever his other name is, the guy that's the brother of what's her face. How you like that? My wife really loves that when I refer to people that
Yeah,
way.
Jack Nicholson and
She has
Peter
to figure it out.
Fonda.
Peter Fonda, there we go. And Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper was the big star.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the alley, but we've got Boomhauer walking up to the alley. He gets a beer out of the cooler. Artie says not his favorite, but doing the notes helped him. Yep, I get it. And Luke, not the magazine Easy Rider. No, not the magazine Easy Rider. So he walks up, and you can tell that something's up because Boomhauer's not usually the last one to come up and grab
Yeah.
a beer.
Yeah.
Hank says, "Hey, Boomhauer, how was Houston? Do anything interesting?" And Boomhauer said, "Nah, man, stuff. Meeting, just conferences like dangle." And then, of course, Dale can't hold it in. Liar! Show him, Hank. Show him. And Hank pulls out a Houston Texans bobblehead. And remember, the Houston Texans have not always been a thing. They started what year?
They played their first season in 2002.
Okay.
They are part of the same expansion that the Jacksonville Jaguars came into the league on. I believe they came in at the same time. And it is not a continuation of the Houston Oilers. The Houston Oilers went to
Yeah.
Tennessee and became the Tennessee Titans,
Yeah.
which a lot of people are like, oh, well, yeah, you're a Houston fan. They're like, they automatically lump you in with the Oilers. And I didn't watch football when the Houston Oilers were
Yeah.
playing football. I started watching football seriously in 2002. That's when I started like really paying attention to it.
So I grew up an Oilers fan. I have a little oil derrick tattooed on the side of my foot. The whole thing. I was a huge Oilers fan, just like I'm a huge Spurs fan. But I defended my team for years and years and years as the Houston Oilers, living in a Dallas Cowboys town, all that kind of stuff. When they finally moved, I was very, very sad. But I stuck with them, and I went, and I'm a Tennessee Titans fan now. Now I would have to tell you that this team has disappointed me more in my life than any other team I've ever followed. And so they are on very thin ice as far as I'm concerned. They're not in my state anymore. One more real big screw up, and I probably move on. And I'll tell you this, if San Antonio ever gets a football team, I am on the bandwagon. I would completely move.
Yeah.
Never going to be a Cowboys fan, but that's just the way that works. Artie says this is right after the first season. So he pulls out a Houston Texans bobblehead, and he goes, "It's an official Houston Texans bobblehead. If you're going to sneak around behind a Dallas Cowboys back, you better not ask a Cowboy fan to get your mail." Bill says, "You went to their training camp, didn't you? You make me sick." Well, I think it's a little much.
That's
there,
a little
Bill.
dramatic.
He goes, "Dang it, Boomhauer, just because the Cowboys had a bad season or 2 or 5 doesn't give you the right to abandon
It's
them."
funny because the show started right around the time they're coming up off of 2 Super Bowl wins and all this, and like the hype of the Dallas Cowboys, and then shortly now we're 7 seasons in now, and now it's like Cowboys suck is the narrative.
This is insane. That means. Yes, it does mean that he opened Boomhauer's mail, but this means that the Cowboys have not won anything since this.
Yeah, that's what it
and
kind of showing that in the this also honestly, Mike, might be one of the first pop culture references for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
This might be their very, because this is when did you say it was done? February 16th.
This is 2003.
2003.
Yeah.
So this is coming up off of their first season of football. They really might have.
Rusty says, "Let's go Dallas." Okay.
My
My wife's a huge Cowboys fan, and I have to watch every Cowboys game. But
I'm a Houston Texans
I just
fan.
will never be a Cowboys fan. I just don't. I never liked them.
I'm a Houston Texans fan. My brother's a Broncos fan, and my sister's an Eagles fan.
There you go. Well, y'all got.
And she's turning my toddler into an Eagles fan. After they won the Super Bowl this year, she bought him 5 Super Bowl T-shirts and bought him a bunch of Eagles gear.
Well, they didn't just win the Super Bowl this year. They crushed them.
Yeah, they did.
It doesn't give you a right to abandon them, right, guys? And then Dale has a actual point here. Although I guess if we root for the Texans, doesn't mean we'd have to stop rooting for the Cowboys.
Which is true.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Hank says,
I root for Texas teams, so I think you can root for more than one team.
He said, well, they are in different conferences, so it'd only be a problem if they played in the Super Bowl, an all-Texas Super Bowl. His will be done. I mean, that is,
I love that.
So good.
I love that. That's one of my favorite lines.
So the Cowboys are in the NFC. The Texans are in the AFC, as were the Oilers. So the only time they would actually really meet each other would be in a Super Bowl. Now, they do play each other, I think, every 4 to 6 years, something like that, whatever it is, because conferences rotate. You know, like this year, this conference will play that conference or whatever, that kind of thing. All right, Hank comes into the kitchen with Peggy and Bobby, and he says, Peggy, where's that list of ATMs in Houston? Me and the guys are going to watch the Texans training camp this weekend. ATMs in Houston. They have an entire
just a list. Well, Hank,
all the ATMs.
The funny thing is that Hank has that list for whatever reason.
Yeah, so she goes, this weekend, Hank, we have reservations at That's Amore Saturday night. I told you about this. I booked the table in the kitchen. Bobby, of course, is very excited by this. The chef's table, you got in? He goes, oh, yeah, I sort of remember you mentioning that. She goes, Hank, it took me 2 months to get that table. I promoted an illiterate student to the 9th grade just because his father delivers meat to That's Amore. Hank says, sure, let's have dinner in the kitchen's restaurant. Maybe we can have dessert in the restroom. Number one,
He was excited at first, and then he toned it down. Yeah,
well, it's kind of shitty, honestly, the way he refers to it. She goes, all right, Hank, you're not understanding me. When I make plans, I check with you first. But if you just go off and make whatever plans you want without even consulting me. He goes, fine, I'll consult you on everything, Peggy. I'm going to go get a glass of water. Oh, wait, Peggy, I'm walking to the refrigerator first. He's being kind of a dick here.
No, he's being a dick for
He
sure.
initiated this time.
Yeah, he did. Well, that's the thing is I think he's trying to deflect because he had that little bit of excitement. You got the table? And then he's like, oh, but I don't really care about the table. I want to go watch football.
Now, here comes shitty Peggy because she goes, oh, maybe I should just take Bobby. And Bobby's just like, ee! He squeals, you know.
Of course he wants to go.
She goes, Bobby, I'm not taking you. I was just trying to get back at your father.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so shitty to Bobby. And it happens to him twice in this episode.
Yeah, she gets him a couple times.
All right, later in Hank and Peggy's bathroom, Peggy is washing her hands. I don't know if she's just taking a big stinker or what. Hank comes in and goes, Peggy, I've been thinking about what you were saying, and I realized you were right to be mad at me, and I just want to make it up to you. So, ta-da! And he pulls out a team jersey, a Houston Texans team jersey with double zeros on it. On the back of it, it says P. Hill. He goes, guess who's coming to Houston with us? And don't worry, I cleared it with the guys. You're riding shotgun, and you don't have to share a room with Bill. I mean, how nice of him.
That's funny.
How lovely of him. She goes, oh, so you've decided I'm going to Houston this weekend and what team I'm going to root for. Have you written a cheer for me too, Hank? He goes, no. She goes, I cannot believe you. I am not one of your propane tanks. You can just order around who will obey your every whim. All right, let's break that down just real quick. I'm not one of your propane tanks that you can just order around that will obey your every whim. Yeah. I'm not sure that's the way that works.
I don't think that's the way that works. And it's not like he's like Mickey Mouse in man, what was that?
Yeah,
Fantasia. Mickey Mouse and Fantasia with the mops and stuff like that. Yeah.
She goes, Bobby, it's your lucky day. Your father has a new shirt for you. He goes, really? He goes, no. I mean, there again.
That's funny.
Poor Bobby. He's just like
he's tied up in it, and he just wants a meal.
Oh, he gets excited, knocked down. Excited, knocked down.
He just wants to sit in the chef's kitchen and.
But now he just wants a shirt. I mean, he just wants the friggin' shirt they've got.
Yeah. Poor guy.
All right. So. Some would say that's love. Rusty is what Rusty said. Peggy won't. Now we're out in the alley with all four of them, and Hank is like, Peggy won't let me go to Houston. Bill, of course, is very excited by this. Are you two having problems? Irreconcilable differences, maybe? I mean, every single chance he gets.
Oh yeah, he's a creep.
Try to poke at Peggy. No pun intended.
He is a big creep.
Dale says, as the only happily married man out here, I suggest marriage counseling with Dr. Tim Rast. Tim Rast will make your marriage last. I came up with that slogan during one of our sessions while Nancy was jabbering about something.
Yeah, and with Tim Rast, even though he's not a real character, a lot of his mannerisms and how he sounds and his speech pattern and stuff, Phil McGraw or whatever, Dr. Phil, he was just airing around this time. So he's kind of loosely based on that. You can kind of tell by the character design.
He says, while she was jabbering about something, he's going, you're going to couples therapy? Dang it, Dale, how could you? And like Artie says, he loves it that Hank gets angry at Dale for going to therapy. That's just the best. He goes, oh, he's great. Hank, he's a real man's man. No matter what, he always takes my side. He knows who signs Nancy's name on his checks. Hank says, so all I have to do is show up and he'll tell Peggy I'm right and she's wrong? Yeah, huh? Even when I say something I know is crazy, he nods. He goes, huh. Well, I guess as long as he's just there to tell Peggy she's wrong, I can't see any harm. Man, yikes.
That's awful. Yeah, that's pretty
rough. Bad. All right, later, Peggy and Hank are in bed. Hank says, Peggy, I don't really know how to say this, and yet there's no greeting card for it either. She comes out, she's brushing her teeth. She's like, what? I mean, she's still pissed off, right? Dr. Rast, voiced by Jamie Kennedy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I think we should see a professional relationship person. She goes, what? You mean a marriage counselor? I mean, she's very excited now. She says, he goes, like the one Dale and Nancy used, Dr. Tim Rast. Yes, him. Please, Peggy. I just need somewhere safe to go and let it all hang out. which is just the weirdest. It's just the most uncomfortable way for Hank to say anything. She goes, "Oh, Hank, don't worry." She's excited now. "Oh, Hank, don't worry. I'll handle everything. I'll call tomorrow, make an appointment." He goes, "Oh, I already did Friday at 4:30. She says, "Huh. So you made an appointment without consulting me?"
Yeah, she just said consult me on stuff, and the first thing he did was do something without consulting
She goes,
her.
"Well, at least
To
we
talk
know
to
the
a
first thing we'll
consultant.
discuss."
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
she's
that's all.
pissed off.
That's all a therapist is, a life consultant, right?
Pretty much,
pretty
yeah.
much.
So they're at now the next day. They're at the I guess Friday at 4:30. They're at the Arlen Counseling Center. Nancy and Dale are in there with the doctor first. This is the first thing we see. Nancy says, "Even his elbows are nicotine stained. He refuses to acknowledge he's bald, and he sobs uncontrollably after sex." And then
Wow.
Dr. Tim Rust says, "Well, crying can be a healthy release." He goes, "Thank you, doctor. Say, it's that time again, but before you go, I want to draw something for y'all to take home. This here's a treasure map. Every time you catch yourself thinking the key to happiness is out there somewhere, Nancy, I want you to look at this map because it'll lead you to a treasure that'll bring both of you untold riches for the rest of your lives." And he just holds up a map, and it's just their house, and it says the Gribble House. And of course, Dale's like, "Gimme!" And I mean, he automatically thinks that it's a friggin' he thinks
An actual,
it's an
he
treasure
thinks it's a
map.
real
Yeah.
treasure map. Yeah.
Artie says, "Hank will leave work at 4:30 for this. Wouldn't leave 10 minutes early for Bill's birthday." That's absolutely true. All right, so now we see them coming out and Hank and Peggy going in. What I thought is really weird is that Hank is wearing a Texans hat at this point.
Yeah, you got a Texans hat on. Hell yeah.
That's odd. I don't think it fits the narrative of him being such a hardcore Cowboys fan, but okay. They're coming out. They're coming in. They kind of run into each other. Dale's just like, "Geek." Whenever he comes out, he sees them. He eats the map and runs off. And then Nancy says, "Dr. Rass is very good." And then they go back in. On the door, it says Tim Rass, PhD, family therapist / life coach. So to your point, life coach. Yeah. Now, they are inside, and Peggy, of course, needs to speak first. She gets out her pen and paper, and she goes, "Now, I have solved the family's emotional crises up to now, so I hope you do not mind if I take my own notes." If I take my own notes.
Own notes.
What a lady. What a lady. So they're inside, and one of the things you do notice about Dr. Tim Rass' office is there's baseballs and footballs and all kinds of trophies and stuff around in there.
Yeah.
So the guy is a guy's guy.
He's definitely a guy's guy,
yeah. And so he goes, "Mm-hmm," and she goes, "Mm-hmm." Like she just has to top him every single time. So Hank starts, "So here's the deal, Coach." I love the fact that he calls him Coach. "She wants to go to a restaurant and eat in the kitchen. I know, I don't get it either, and I want to go see."
That's
the
what makes it
Texans train.
manly to him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, life coach.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to call him
Yeah.
Coach. Yeah.
Here's the deal, Coach. He goes, "And I want to go see the Texans train. I look forward to your ruling." And then he just kind of sits back and waits for him.
He doesn't understand how it works at all. Yeah.
Which is insane. Peggy thinks she's the doctor's equal. Yes, absolutely. Peggy says, "This is not just about going to see the Texans. It's about Chinese cooking class we never took, the matching outfits we never wore. Do you realize we have no scented soaps anywhere in this house? Hank is always acting like the boss. He won't even let me pay the phone bill because he doesn't like the way I make sevens." The doctor says, "Hank, I want you to go see the Texans and forget all about Peggy. See? Sounds pretty dang selfish when you hear it out loud. Okay, let's do magic wand." Hank's like, what's going on here?" He goes, "It's a relationship game, Hank. I got it from Goldie Hawn's life coach at a conference in Reno."
I like this line here. He's
He
funny.
goes, "Oh, God, I've been misinformed. I need to get out of here." He stands up. Peggy, of course, is like, "Sit down, Hank.
No,
This
it's
was your
idea. Yeah.
The doctor says, "I think you'll like magic wand, Hank. Let's play. Now, you have a magic wand. What's one thing you would like to change about your partner?" He says, "Well, call me crazy, but I wouldn't change anything." She goes, "Well, that's not the right answer. Give me the wand. I'll do it right." So number one, she doesn't like the fact that Hank couldn't come up with anything to change about her. So she grabs the wand out of his hand and says,
Because she
"She'll
could
do
think
it
of
better."
10 things. Yeah.
God almighty. The doctor says, "Sounds like you two have an issue with control. What I like to do is something I call time machine therapy, or TMT." Okay. He goes, "I'm going to kill Dale." He goes, what I want you two to do is picture yourselves in the future. You two are retired, no work, no kids. Quick, where do you picture yourself? Hank says, well, we already got that figured out. We're going to buy his and hers motorcycles and see America, excluding California. He goes, tell me more. And then we go into kind of a dream sequence, like this yellow sepia-colored, this is far off in the future kind of thing. And I want to talk about this real quick. But we see the dream sequence. They're going all up and down the road and all that. And he goes, what more is there? Freedom of the open road and such, all the maintenance a guy could ask for. Peggy pops up and she says, collecting spoons from every state capital, meeting colorful characters like truck stop waitresses and corrupt local sheriffs. We have set up a direct deposit savings account and just over halfway to our goal. More if our son Bobby doesn't go to college. And then it comes back to real life.
Which
here's
him being in the food industry and him still being kind of young, he might not have went to college.
So here's the thing I want to reference. I don't think that this episode is super important, in the overall scheme of the entire show.
Yeah, it's not. By this point, I don't think a lot of them are.
But we do see both of them with white hair, retired, traveling around. Yeah. Right? And so
it gives us a unique insight into them.
Yeah. I just wonder if this is a little tiny bit of insight into what we're about to see.
I imagine so. I bet you they're both probably white-headed or maybe gray-headed at least, I don't know what color they'll use. Because nowadays, I really don't think of old people as white-haired. I think of them as gray-haired.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks. Appreciate it. But she, no, I just think what a callback that would be if this is actually a reference to something at some point in these new episodes. In this,
and then they actually get to go on their motorcycle journey, and we get a lot of them. We get a lot of them.
I think that would be super freaking cool.
Or if they're like in an RV selling jam across the country. Exactly. My friend's grandparents did that. When they retired. There was like some.
I would love to.
I think it was a scam.
I would love to travel the U.S. selling jam.
I think it was a scam.
Selling jam?
I don't know. Is that a real thing?
It's a jam scam?
I don't know if it's a jam scam, but if it's a jam scam, it's a damn jam scam.
It's a damn jam scam.
But no, they did. They literally were selling jam all over the country, but I don't know how. I don't know how it came about or who they were selling it for or what they were doing. But they were in like their late 60s. All of the grandkids were just hitting their teenage years around that time, so they were like, "Well, we're just going to go do this." And then when
let's go sell some jam,
grandkids started popping up, they stopped doing it. Great grandkids. They sold jam.
Artie says it's
at
a cult.
RVs. Is it?
He thinks it's a cult with the jam.
I don't know.
Selling the jam. I'd be right there with you.
I think most people selling jam are in a cult.
All these farmers markets, they're just entry
cult
into a cult.
Jam. Yeah.
Anyway, we come back.
You don't even know if they made it with their feet or not when you buy it.
We come back to
the
real
farmers
life.
market feet jam.
And well, that's the thing. Are they squashing it with the feet? Is that
that's what I'm saying. Like with wine or something.
I don't drink
That's
anymore.
That's what we should do. We should start a wine company called Farmers Market Feet Jam.
Well, there's already barefoot wine. There's a thing called barefoot.
Oh yeah, we'd get sued into oblivion. Farmers Market Feet.
Artie says Jane, blonde Jane, old Jane.
Yeah, they were making jam, weren't they?
All right, so yes, very much. I think they were. No, they weren't. Were they making jam?
I thought they were selling meat.
They were selling something. I don't remember what
it was jam. I'm pretty sure it was jam.
The doctor says, I'm going to write you to a prescription I think is going to help you with your problem. Hank says, doctor, if you'll check your notes, we only have half the money saved. He goes, Peggy goes, here it is, right here. So she just shows it to him like she's in charge. He goes, but half the money will still buy you one motorcycle, and that would give you something to share together as equal partners. Of course, if you don't want a motorcycle, there's other things you could spend that money on, like more counseling. Now we see them at the Harley-Davidson dealership. They come out on a two-seater bike. They see each other in the reflection of the windows. Artie says jams and jellies is what they were making, so he's right. So they see themselves in the
What's
reflection.
the difference in jam and jelly?
I think one's thicker.
Oh, okay.
I think that's really all it is. One or maybe has more like chunks of fruit in it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they see themselves in the mirror or in the window as they come by. Hank's like, "Is that us?" She goes, "It is now." And then she says the creepiest thing. She says, "Hit it, Daddy," which I don't need Peggy ever saying that, please.
Yeah, her calling him daddy is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't really need her calling anybody daddy. But that will take us to our first commercial break. We will take that, and we will be right
back.
There it is.
Early seasons.
Hey there, we're back from
And
our
we're
first
back.
commercial break, and it's good to see you again. Hello. Can you tell I hadn't been here for a little while? All right, so we are inside the Hill House. We're having breakfast.
The
Everybody
Hill
seems
House.
extremely happy. Bobby is just staring out the sliding glass windows at the bike out there, and he goes, "I can't believe you guys bought a motorcycle. Evel Knievel had a Harley and a cape and a jeweled walking stick." Of course, Hank has a problem with this. He goes, "It was a cane. It wasn't because it was because he had a crushed pelvis." Which, I mean, he's right. And
Yeah,
Bobby
he did.
goes,
He had
"And
a lot
Like,
of
he just has to
destroyed body
defend that
parts.
cape. Huh?
He had a lot of destroyed body parts. Evil Knievel.
Evel Knievel was something else.
I don't know. I think that was a really phenomenon that we haven't seen since.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got people like Travis Pastrana and stuff like that do crazy stuff and get hurt a lot, but
Yeah.
just a guy that did like 75 plus, just a ramp to ramp, like
Yeah, that big
motorcycle jump thing that he did
Yeah.
was so crazy.
His kid tried to do it for a while, and he did do it for a while, but it wasn't the same for some reason. It was just a time and place kind of thing, you know?
I don't know. I remember a lot of those on TV when I was a kid. Robbie Knievel, wasn't that his name? I remember seeing a lot of those on Fox because Fox.
He was like 70 years old now.
Yeah. So Evel Knievel, I went ahead and pulled up
I used to love Evel Knievel.
his injury list.
I also had the little the wind-up Evel Knievel, you know, the bike that you put on the wind-up thing, and there he goes.
Yeah, they had that. They had that wind up toy on one of the whatchamacallits, Toy Story movies. They had that little.
Yes.
They had
the one on the Toy Story
that
movie.
was
Now there is a guy
parody of him.
There's a guy that my buddy Casey sends me all the time. That he sets up these phenomenal, like gigantic jumps for the tiny little wind-up Evel Knievel.
Oh, that's
Like
funny.
firecrackers, the
Yeah.
whole thing, you know.
I got you. So I got a quick list. So he has all these are fractured, broken, and replaced, and broken multiple times. So his skull has been fractured. He's broken his nose, his teeth, his jaw's been fractured. His left and right clavicle fractured. His sternum fractured. He's broken and had his upper vertebrae replaced twice. His right arm broken, all ribs fractured. His pelvis was broken over 3 times and replaced. Replaced. His coccyx, both wrists, right knee, right shin, both ankles, his toes. His entire femur on the left side has been broken over 5 times. He's broken his lower vertebrae 3 times. Hip, ball, and socket he's broken, which is, I couldn't imagine the excruciating pain that would cause. And his left arm. So pretty much his whole body at one point or another
Was broken and put back together.
has been broken except for his neck.
Wow, never broke his neck.
Never broke his neck.
Huh.
Broke his... cracked his skull, broke his
Yeah.
nose, his teeth, and his
Yeah.
jaw,
Yeah.
and his clavicle,
Never broke his neck.
but never broke his neck.
Huh. That's probably what saved him.
And that was some higher being or something looking down on
guy
him
was amazing.
and saving
He was
his
something
life
else. He was
because
just nuts,
the
is what
fact
it
he
was. He was
never
just
broke
insane.
his neck but broke
Yeah.
everything on his body and broke his back 5 times, his upper back twice, and his lower back 3 times. So
Don't you dare say he had a walking stick. It was a cane.
it was a
Just
cane.
remember that. Now we're outside. We got Dale with the treasure map. Now it's all wet and funky, but you couldn't break his spirit bone How about that?
There you go.
He said
No, you
spirit
couldn't.
bone. That's nice.
I don't know if he was a drug addict or drunk, or if he just fed off of that stuff.
I think he just fed off of it. He's like a stunt man kind of thing, I mean,
Yeah.
he just fed off of it. But we got Dale outside. He's got his treasure map. It's all wet and gross because he tried to shove it in his mouth. And then we have Bill with a blindfold and a shovel standing there. And Dale says, having trouble making this out through my own spit. What kind of idiot uses indelible ink to draw a treasure map? He goes, oh, this looks about right. And he paints an X on the ground. He goes, start digging, Bill. Bill, of course, is standing there with a damn blindfold on. He can't see anything.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's
"Can I
doing
take the
that, but
blindfold
okay.
off? I don't want any of your treasure. I just enjoy the time we spend together." He goes, "Me too. That's why I didn't gag you." That's just so rough. Poor Bill. All right, later in the alley, we got all four of them. We got Bill and Dale. They're both very muddy because they've been digging. We got Hank in his motorcycle outfit, which is weird.
Yeah, he's got like chaps and a leather jacket with
Very odd.
streamers on it.
And he's holding a helmet. And Bill, of course, is talking to him. "I promise I'll wipe my head first." He goes, "No." Bill just wants to stick his head in that helmet. That's all he wants to do. From behind, we see Peggy. She's bringing out some stuff. She goes, "We riding 5, Big H. I just have to leather up." Again, I don't like it. I just don't like it when she talks that way. He goes, "Boy, we made the right move, I'll tell you
Big
what.
H, yeah.
We didn't need therapy. We needed a motorcycle. Whenever we go to the hardware store, she gets to give me a 20-minute hug, and I get to go to the hardware store." I don't understand that. She gets to give me a 20-minute hug.
Yeah, I think that's funny. That was good writing.
Okay. Now we're at the Harley Davidson shop, and we see two bikers there, and they're kissing, and they got their hands all over each other and stuff. And he goes, "God, that shorty helmet looks hot on you." And then the girl says, "Well, I'll keep it on. Kiss me as hard as you want. Your stuff's cleared up, right?" Like she has to make sure that the guy doesn't
Have
like
any
a
herpes
sore or
on his
whatever.
mouth, yeah.
Now we go, and by the way, on his back is a, Hardy says BH means bad Hank, not big Hank. So on his back, he's got a big patch that says, "Try burning this one," and it's got a picture of the American flag. She turns around, she's got the American flag, and it says, "Or this one." So, like, they are two peas in a pod here, try
Yeah,
burning
they're
this one, or
yeehawing.
this one. But Hank and Peggy are over to the side kind of watching. She goes, "Wow, look at those two, Hank, real bikers. We're going to need some real biker accessories if we're going to fit in with this crowd." Hank pulls out a chain wallet and shows it to her, and he goes, "Check out this wallet so it doesn't fall out of your pants during a rumble." A rumble.
Yeah.
So then,
This reminds me of, what's that movie with, it's got like John Travolta.
Grease?
No, it's a motorcycle movie about a bunch of old people riding motorcycles.
Oh, you're talking Old Dogs.
Old dogs, yeah.
So we hear again from the two bikers over there. The girl says, "Could you add this to our wedding registry? I can't remember if it's under my name, Pepperoni Sue, or the groom's Lumpy."
Lumpy and pepperoni. That should have been a TV show.
Peggy walks up and says, "Well, that explains why you two are acting like a couple of about-to-be newlyweds. Congratulations." And the girl says, "Thanks. You're only off by 10 years. We're doing a recommitment ceremony. First time we got married, all I got was a pair of assless pants and a bottle of tequila." And the guy says, "That bottle and them pants got us through 5 states in 3 days. Ooh, what a honeymoon." Hank, of course, pops up and he says, "Yeah, this country of ours looks pretty darn good with your boots up in the breeze." He goes,
Your boots in the
he goes,
breeze.
"You said it,
yeah.
brother. Now me and the old lady are fixing to head up to South Dakota for the nuptials. Yep, Biker Week in Sturgis, just like the first time around." Girl says, Pepperoni Sue, of course, says, "Yeah, tradition's real important to Lumpy and me. That's why we're going to spend our wedding night under the same foosball table in the same bar as last time." And the guy says, "Oh, hey, have you guys ever been to Sturgis? It's a party, and Robbie Knievel's jumping 13 dump trucks in the middle of a Styx concert." I mean, that's pretty damn good.
That is good.
Oh, shit, I didn't realize that. Pepperoni Sue is Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, I got you real quick. So this is Robbie Knievel's injury list real quick.
Robbie Knievel.
2 knee surgeries, over 8 broken bones, torn ligaments, 3 compressed vertebrae, multiple concussions. He crashed into the pavement on his butt, which required surgery.
Coccyx.
Injuries from being in a coma. Broke his leg when he crashed trying to jump the Grand Canyon. He tried to jump 25 dump trucks and hit the 22nd one and tore himself up pretty bad. Yeah, so that's some of his injuries.
That's still an awful lot.
Yeah, that is an awful lot.
That's just an awful lot to have happen to you of your own. And he says he's got some Sturgis facts for us too, if you come across those.
Oh yeah, I've got those right here. I'll hit that real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so Sturgis, for those of you that don't know about Sturgis, which a lot of people don't, it's a huge, huge motorcycle rally. Actually, I got a funny story about it too, about Sturgis before I do the facts.
Yep.
I had 2 geology teachers in college that they ran this geology field course, but they were a divorced couple, so they were previously married people. Well, we're on the trip, and when you're on the trip, it's like my second time on this trip, and it's a 19-day trip out in the desert, so you kind of get comfortable with people and stuff like that. And
Sure.
Me being the second time on the trip, because you do a lot of work up to the trip stuff before the trip actually happens. You do a bunch of stuff because the trip's in May and school starts, in January. So
Right.
by the time the trip comes along, like you've been with all these people for months, after school, coming in on the weekends and stuff like that. It's just like a big course. And so the teacher was a biker. One of the male teacher, he was a biker, and he had a long rat tail that he had that was braided down his back and stuff like that. And so I was riding in his vehicle on the trip, because there's like 5 vehicles and they move everybody around. And I happened to be in his vehicle one day, and he was telling us a story about Sturgis, about the other teacher being on the back of his motorcycle naked, riding around Sturgis, drunk
good.
as a skunk.
That's not good. Yeah.
But
we don't want to tell people that.
no, you probably shouldn't tell people that. We were all college age though. It's not like we were high school kids. We were all college kids. I was like 25, 26, so it wasn't like a crazy
nuts.
deal. But the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is held annually. It began in 1938 by a group of Indian motorcycle riders, which is a specific type of motorcycle.
That's a brand.
Yeah. And was originally held for stunts and races. Since then, the number of attendees has grown to about 500,000 people over the 10-day event, with a record of 739,000 in 2015. It's the largest collection of motorcycle riders ever, kind of thing. And they do it once a year in Sturgis, South Dakota.
When we were having the block party here a few weeks back, some of the Cossacks showed up.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody kind of freaked out a little bit. But
did they come riding up like really deep or something?
Nah. They just came up walking around and checking stuff out, and I was like, they're not doing anything. I don't know what y'all.
Yeah, they're not scary.
What the problem is?
I think it's kind of. I don't know. I think it's kind of that culture is weird to me, because I don't know. They like sign their bike title over to the club, and like the club owns their bike, and
yeah, it's almost a cult. Honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy stuff.
All right, so he says Robbie Knievel's jumping 13 dump trucks in the middle of a Styx concert. Pepperoni Sue says, yeah, it's a solid week of free music, dancing, and pickle licking contests. You should come, pickle licking contest. Peggy says, well, it does sound like it offers a lot of fun for couples activities. Hank says, we have been talking about doing a longer ride. The guy says, yeah, live to ride, ride to live. Pepperoni Sue, give him an invitation to our reception. Pepperoni Sue says, if you feel like getting us something, we're also registered at the liquor store. Okay, so now it's the Hills looking at a South Dakota flyer. Peggy is wearing a fringed jacket for some reason.
Not sure why. That's not very biker of him.
No, it's not, but she thinks it is. They are back at the house. So she goes, well, dude, if we're going to be riding in Sturgis, we'll need some sunblock. I'm off to the store. Number one, she calls Hank dude, which is insane.
And then the next line's even more insane.
Yeah, I cannot imagine Peggy picking a pickle in a contest or licking a pickle in a contest. No. And Hank says,
she's probably really good at it, because
I don't want to hear about it.
Well, that's the thing, is like Hank is so square, but we don't really know. Hank doesn't even know.
He says I'm off to the store. He responds with the words, good thinking, motorcycle mama.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yikes. She says, live to ride, ride to live, you dumb cows. She just takes off, and she's passing cows, and she's doing all this stuff. She's freaking out. She thinks she's a big motorcycle rider. Now they're both polishing the bike in the garage. And she says, Hank, I may never sleep again. Driving this Harley was amazing. If I have bugs in my teeth, it's because I could not stop smiling. I should probably floss. He goes, I'd ask you to start it up, but it'd wake up Bobby. Who cares? He gets enough sleep. And then they rev it up. Like they start it and rev it up right there in the garage, which is really weird for them. Like that is not something that would normally happen.
No, not at all.
They have bought hook, line, and sinker into this whole motorcycle thing. Bill is out digging, of course, still for as Dale watches. He hits something solid. Oh yeah, that's right. Artie says, "Remember, Peggy can't ride a bike." That's absolutely true. I forgot about that part. And now she's on top of a motorcycle screaming at cows.
Yeah, she is.
All right, so Bill is digging and he hits something solid, and of course Dale jumps in real quick. Move, it's mine. He goes, what is it? He pulls out a mummified cat corpse, and he goes, a mummified house cat. Must have belonged to the Pharaoh.
In the middle of Texas.
Bill looks at it and goes, Mr. Boots, but that was your cat, Dale. He goes, impossible. Mr. Boots was white and fluffy and feisty and fun-loving. This is just a skeleton. Wait a minute. Nancy told me that he ran away.
Damn.
That's just a sad interaction right there.
Nancy's rough for
They
that.
just dug up this cat.
At least bury it somewhere else. She buried it right in the backyard.
Now, if somebody can explain this next piece to me, I would be eternally grateful to you. Because it's Hank and Peggy laying in bed saying, "Oh, potato."
It's the sound of a motorcycle.
Is that what it is? Oh,
Next time you listen to a motorcycle sound, say
not get
potato in your head, and you'll hear the sound. Potato.
Next day, they're taking off on the bike, and everybody's outside wishing them well. Cotton, GH, Dee Dee, Bill, Dale, Boomhauer, Nancy, Bobby, everybody's standing out there waiting for them.
Which is weird. Like,
yeah, it is weird.
Got the whole neighborhood giving them a send-off. We just usually leave.
Peggy says, now you have a good time at your Grandpa Cotton's while we're gone. Bobby says, fine, but I'm not taking a bath with that baby again. It's humiliating. Hank says, okay, everyone, step away from the vehicle so I can execute a farewell donut.
Whatever that is.
Weird. Yeah, Dale kills things for a living.
Farewell
He can't take
donut.
Mr. Boots' death. That's right.
Bill's looking for the glazed.
And so Bill finally, he's like, oh, quit dragging it out. Just go. And then they take off, and Nancy, of course, go, ride that hog, girl. Bye. Give me a shot glass. They take off down the road. They're on their big motorcycle trip. They stop at a rest stop in Oklahoma. And the first thing Peggy says is, oh, you've been driving all morning, Hank. Why don't you take a break? I can take over for a while. He goes, oh, thanks, but I'm okay. Maybe next stop. So she gets a little irritated. Then they pull up in Kansas. She goes, okay, Hank, Kansas is mine. I'm going to tear this state a new one. He goes, yeah, maybe we ought to switch off after Kansas. I don't want you to miss out on all that wheat.
And all that wheat,
So she's a little more pissed. Then they go to Nebraska. No, I'm still feeling surprisingly
And once
fresh.
you get
Thanks,
through
though.
Texas, those states come up pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. So she's a little more pissed. Now we're in South Dakota. Standing in front of the sign, he's taking a picture. She goes, we're almost there. Why mess with success? Smile. And she is very angry at this point. Now we're in Sturgis. She's standing in front of the Sturgis sign. He goes, come on, Peggy, smile. She goes, I am sick of you bossing me around. Let me drive, then I will smile. He goes, well, I explained it to you in Nebraska. It would throw our weight distribution all out of whack.
Which that's not how it works, yeah.
Maybe the coroner could take a photo of us after we bounced off the asphalt like a couple of rag dolls. Damn, Hank. Okay. She says, Hank, that's bunk. I am driving. And she gets on. He goes, okay, but see, Peggy, the thing is, it doesn't work that way with the biker couples. Lumpy and Pepperoni Sue have a great relationship, and she never rides up front. In fact, the spot behind the driver is called the bitch seat. She goes, what? Oh, so that makes me your... He goes, no. It's a motorcycle term.
I don't even think it's spelled the same. She killed me.
She says, my God, maybe we should have taken the therapy. Hey, let's stop at a souvenir stand so I can get a T-shirt that says my husband controlled my vacation and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. That'd be a nice picture to show Dr. Rast, huh? He says, well, maybe we should get a motorcycle with a seat big enough for 3 people. Then Dr. Rast could ride along and analyze our marriage. She says, good idea. He goes, now, hold on, we're going. She goes, we're not going anywhere. He goes, oh, yes, we are. And Peggy falls off the back of the motorcycle. Now we know we got problems with this marriage because these two are fighting. This is about as much as they ever fight. And so that's going to take us to our second commercial break while Peggy and Hank are fighting, and we will
Be right back.
Right back. Hello, we are back. That was the second commercial break, so you can look forward to nonstop entertainment until the end of this now.
Bwaaa.
So Peggy has fallen off the back of the motorcycle. We know we got problems. They are now walking their bike into Sturgis because neither one of them can drive it. Neither one of them wants to admit they're wrong. As they're coming through, we hear the people on the side of the road, yeah, show us what you got, girls. And girls start flashing their boobs at them. Hank's like, oh.
There's a lot of nakedness and drunkenness. And it's a wild place.
Peggy then says, that's right, Hank, get a good look, because at this rate you're going, you will not be seeing mine anytime soon. That's a rough thing for her to say as well.
That is kind of rough.
Hank says, nice to see you've gotten vulgar as well as selfish. She hits the brake lever on her side of the bike that she's pushing, and he goes, Peggy, release the brake lever. She goes, nuh-uh, the brake lever's on my side, and I'll hold it down as long as I want. He goes, fine. We'll just park the bike here. It doesn't bother me. I can watch the motorized bar stool races. She goes, you know what? I'm going to go to the Greyhound station and buy myself a ticket to Arlen. I'm sure they'll let me sit anywhere I want on the bus. He says, you can't sit in the bus driver's seat. You can't even talk to him. That pisses her off. He's pissed off. She finally just like, yeah. And she goes over and flashes the people on the side of the road. We don't see anything, but she goes, oh, yeah. He goes, whoa. She goes, oh, will you quit your whining, you old woman? I'm wearing a bra. Again, this is
Peggy got a little wild.
This is the dirtiest I've ever seen Peggy.
Peggy would probably be a lot more progressive if she wasn't with Hank. She'd probably be a lot more out there.
She goes, I'm wearing a bra. She goes, I'm wearing a bra. So she takes off, and then you hear Barstool coming through. Guy coming through on a cooler that he's riding. He hits Hank. Hank's like, oh, and knocks his glasses off. Hank cannot see. One of the Barstool guys runs over his glasses. Hank kind of feels around, gets them. He gets up, and he runs into a guy, and he goes, excuse me, officer. It's actually a guy with no pants on. Who is dressed a little bit at the top, like maybe a cop. I don't know. Hey, blah, blah, blah. What's up? Anyway, he has his broken glasses now. He's kind of stranded in the middle of the street. Peggy's taken off the other way. Now we're back at the Arlen Counseling Center. Somebody is in there getting counseling, and you hear the counselor say, but before you go, this map will lead you to the treasure and then, ha! Dale jumps out from behind the plant in the office and goes, I'm rich, and you, stop playing the blame game, talking to the woman who's sitting there getting counseling.
Yeah.
And then he runs off. Not much of a B story in this one either, by the way. Hank goes into the jewelry store in Sturgis, and he goes, hey, are these fixable? The guy just goes, no. And that's the only line the guy says.
That's it, yeah.
We hear Pepperoni Sue say, how do you tell what size you are in a nipple ring? He goes, Pepperoni Sue. And then the guy says, huh, who's asking? Like he's ready to throw down. She goes, oh, it's that old biker dude with the crazy girlfriend. He goes, oh, yeah, sorry, I almost messed you up, man. Wedding day jitters. She says, look at that kick-ass skull ring Lumping's getting me. And shows him a big skull ring. He goes, huh, a smiley one. She goes, yeah, because I know how to make him smile. Mm-hmm, ooh, oh, man, that's good barbecue. As she's kissing him, she says, that's good barbecue.
Yeah, that's gross.
Is gross.
I want to know where the hell the writers got that from, because I've never heard anybody say that. I've been around a lot of rough biker types. I ain't never heard that one.
She turns to Hank. She goes, so how are you and your old lady digging Biker Week? He goes, Peggy and I aren't really speaking right now. She's upset because I wouldn't let her drive us. The guy says, hell, I'd rather get shanked than let my old lady drive. She says, and I'd never ask. That's why our marriage works. Boundaries. Yeah, who knows her place? She goes, I do, baby. He goes, who knows her place? She goes, I do. The weirdest little playful thing I've ever had go back and forth.
Yeah.
She goes, you okay? She's talking to Hank. You look like you licked a bad pickle. And he goes, Pepperoni, show him your girl. She goes, okay, but they're a little chap from the ride. Hank's like, oh, that's okay.
That's
thanks.
wild, yeah.
he was going to get a flash. That was supposed to make him feel better, I guess, seeing Pepper.
I guess, yeah.
Boobies. All right, so next thing we see is Peggy. She is at the Sturgis Bus Depot. We see a parking-only sign out there. Hank pulls up. She goes, "Where are your glasses, Hank? Or did you decide it's effeminate for a man to wear them? If so, I refer you to Mark Harmon." I'm sorry. She goes, Mr. Wait a minute. Who did she say? She didn't say Mark Harmon. Who did she say? Larry Hagman. She said Larry Hagman. I'm so sorry.
J.R. Ewing, right?
Larry Hagman.
From Dallas.
Yeah, ridiculous. He goes, "A bar stool ran into me and broke my glasses, so just take the bike and I'll take the bus." She goes, "Hank, this is crazy. Now get on. I will drive." He goes, "Well, that would mean I'd have to ride on the other part of the seat." Yeah, Larry Hagman. Behind. She goes, "Oh, stop acting like a baby and get on." He goes, "I am not a baby." I don't know why that's so important to these men. That is said so many times.
I hate driving. I'd rather somebody else drive.
So later, they're just riding around. They're taking off. She goes, "Are your arms getting stiff up there?" He goes, "A little. I suppose I can put them down here a little while." She sees a dead.
Yeah, because he had his hands up here on her shoulders.
Yeah, way up there. But he starts getting comfortable with the ride. She sees a dead snake. She hollers out, "Dead snake." He says, "Nice maneuver, Peggy." Then she goes, they ride a little further. He's even more comfortable now. She goes, "Hank, there's a moose drinking from that lake." He goes, "There's a moose? A lake? How big are the antlers?" She goes, "Oh, my goodness, they're huge. Don't worry, I'll get her closer." And so she pulls him closer. He sees the very blurry moose. She goes, "Hey, I see it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful." She goes, "Yes, it is, Hank." He goes, "I love you, Peggy," because he's finally gotten comfortable. He's holding her around the waist. She's riding. She's driving. He's okay with it. He goes,
It's his first time that he's had to be pressed up and hold it. Like he was about to start crying, like holding a teddy bear.
He goes, "I love you, Peggy." She goes, "Sandwich, I think there's one left in that saddlebag." That's how it is. Now, at the very end, this is something we don't normally get. We see a lot of pictures of their time on the road. We see Roy's Motel. We see a bunch of spoons. We see Peggy at Four Corners. And then the last one we see is Bobby in the bathtub with GH. So he did not get out of having to take a bathtub with a little child.
Yeah.
But that is it. Those are the credits. Yep, blah, blah, blah. This episode is very random. We talked about that a little earlier.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird one.
It is a weird episode that feels kind of out of place. Like, they could have taken this episode and plopped it just about anywhere in any season for the most part. And I think that's probably the point. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. You want to tell them where they can find us? Yeah, you can find us on all social media at bwaaaakoth.com. Also, send us in some emails at bwaaaakoth@gmail.com. Give us some suggestions, tips, love letters, whatever else you got. Love letters. Yum. Number one, thank you again for sticking with us. We appreciate it. We know that it's been kind of off here lately, but we're back into the swing of things. Are we going to have to change up the days we record because of your new job? Potentially. Okay. I just got to see how I feel because my shift's going to be midnight shift, so I'll be working all night. So it just depends on how I feel. We'll give you guys a heads up if anything changes. But if nothing else, expect to see us about the same time or so. But we'll let you know if it changes. And blah, blah, blah. Artie, Rusty, who else we got? We had Luke. Anybody else who was in the chat, we really appreciate you being here. Jordan, we appreciate it. Thank you for showing up. We thank you for all your support. And again, without you guys, I don't think this thing would exist anymore. So thank you. Have a great weekend. Or I guess this comes out on Monday, so have a great week. Have a great week. And we'll see you again on Friday. And I think there's just one last thing to say. Wimatanye. Wimatanye, indeed, to all of you. A very good night.
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night. deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Bwaaa. And Mike will be back in just a moment. He went to go take a leak, and we'll do Friday's episode as well as we usually do. So stick around, and Mike will be here momentarily to talk to you while I go use the restroom. So right now we're just waiting on Mike. For those of you that don't know or just learning that Mike is not here right now, as you can tell by his empty chair, he has went to empty his bladder. Please hold for an important message from viewers like you. Would already say Wimitanye. Wimitanye indeed. If you're still here, put a 1 in chat. There you go. Where all the chatters at? Little chatter. If you were chatter, I'm a chatter back, chatter. And Mike is back, and now I'm going to go and use the restroom.
There we go. Somebody beat that place up. I don't know what happened in there, but it ain't great. Yeah. Hello to all of you. Hey, there you are. Now I can see you. Yeah, that episode is not my favorite. It was fine. Just wasn't a whole heck of a lot there. I don't know what the NFL's reason for not adding a team in San Antonio was. I saw that the Dallas mayor was trying to get another team in Dallas, which makes no sense to me. But whatever. I don't know. Stuff that the NFL and NBA do makes zero sense to me. Like the other day I was told that or I read a thing saying that there's a problem coming for the NBA in that Saudi Arabia has tons and tons of money and wants to start an NBA league or a rival league that would just take over. And their argument was for somebody like Luka Doncic, who was just traded and people think was done wrong and all this stuff, that you get a guy like him, you pay him $100 million a year, you tell him he only has to play like 35, 40 games, how would you not be in? You know? I mean, if they wanted to build a league overnight, they really could, and they could crush the NBA like almost immediately. It's crazy to me that they would even want to compete with that, but I guess all the games would be overseas or something. I don't know. There's no way. I don't think I could watch that league. I think it would be weird. It'd be like a FIBA ball or something like that, maybe. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah. We were talking about the NFL not adding a team in San Antonio and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, they probably haven't done that yet, have they? Probably won't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's big enough.
It is definitely a big enough market.
You know?
All of South Texas would probably be there.
But I think probably the Spurs would be the ones that would like it the least because they're the only game in town at this point. You know?
Yeah.
Unless it's the soccer team, and they own the soccer team also.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. All right, let's get a Friday done. Here we go, guys.
Bwaaa trucks fight all through the night. Deep in the heart of Texas, the trailer park is nice and dark. Deep in the heart of Texas, that drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Earl Keen. I don't
Hey
really know his
guys,
music that much.
welcome to Friday. I'm
Friday,
sorry to interrupt you,
Friday,
but We were talking
Friday.
about concerts. We were talking about.
Bwaaa. Yeah,
Oh,
concerts
by the
we
way,
went
I'm
to.
Mike, and welcome to Bwaaa.
And I
this
am
is
rusty still.
they're still rusty.
Yeah, still rusty.
We were talking about concerts, and he said that he went to the Tyler the Creator
Yeah, Tyler the Creator
show
concert.
that was really good. And then you said next is Willie.
Yeah, I go to Willie Nelson.
Where at?
New Braunfels New Braunfels.
The July thing?
Yeah, it's in April. New Braunfels.
Oh, okay.
And then Post Malone and Jelly Roll in May
Oh yeah.
in Dallas
That's cool.
at AT&T. Yeah.
I stopped going to concerts at big places. You know, I've been to a ton of them at large arenas and stuff, and it's just, to me, it's not worth the price of admission anymore.
Yeah.
I
won't go to too many
yeah,
of them.
you've got kids, which
Yeah, well, you can't get intimate venues with some of the people
absolutely,
that my kid wants to go see.
absolutely.
I personally would rather the local music, smaller regional bands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have to go to a stadium to enjoy
No,
a concert. I think it takes away from the intimacy of the experience when you're sitting 4 floors up and you're just looking
I like
at
the
it.
smaller shows. Yeah. I mean, if I can go to a place where there's 200 people, that's probably plenty for me. at that
Yeah,
point,
well,
you
there was a
know.
lot there at the Moody thing. We
Oh,
were
yeah,
looking
that's a
down into the pit,
entirely
and I
different
told my son, I said, "Do you want to do that next time?" And he, even at his age, was like, "I don't know that I want to go down there and do that," because there was like people passing out, and I was like, "I know we're kind of we weren't like super high up, but we're kind of up there in the middle of it," and I was like, see how much better show it is up here, how much more you could
Yeah.
see of everything.
Yeah.
Like, because there was 2 stages, and at one point they lower this catwalk down, and he's in the middle of the catwalk, and they lift the catwalk up and he's like stomping up and down the catwalk while he's doing his music. And I said, see where you're at now, see how much better. Over 3/4 of the show was done on the catwalk and on the second stage. And then he opened the show on the main stage and closed the show on the main stage, but everything else is pretty much done in between, where we had a better line of sight for anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think next time I want to get him down in a pit somewhere with some artists.
The next thing I'm going to see, I think, is Fred Armiston. The
Okay.
guy that was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
He does a tour. He's a drummer, and he's a big musician, and so he does this tour where he goes around and he plays drums and he tells jokes and stuff like that. That'll be cool.
Yeah, I want to try to go
Maybe
see a
at
Kill
Emo's
Tony
in
show, but
Austin.
man, the tickets for it are just so hard to get.
Really?
I've tried. You got to be on top of it because they sell out so fast,
Yeah.
and they book out months in advance,
Yeah.
and they sell so quick.
There's a band, and I know this is what you guys tuned in for, but there's a band up in the New York, New Jersey area called the Boojums, Boojums.
Yeah.
3 people, guitar, bass, drums. I really like them, and I was able to get a hold of them.
Oh yeah.
They just kind of showed up in my feed, and I was able to get a hold of them and ask them if they were coming to Texas, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we don't have any plans right now," because they only have 3 songs out.
yeah.
But I was able to get them for an interview. So Sheridan's going to do an interview with them. And
Oh, that's
just
cool.
Occasionally when I find these bands like this that just pop up out of nowhere, I try to get in touch with them as soon
What
as I can.
podcast does she do with music?
She does something called Sheridan's Soundcheck Sessions,
Oh, cool.
where she just interviews random bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's this last Monday, we started the Central Sounds recordings. That means that we are at Central Goods over here at 18th and Franklin, and we're going to be doing like tiny desk type concerts over there.
Oh, that's cool.
Little 2 songs a pop.
Yeah.
I think she's got about 12 bands lined up already.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
All different kinds of music, so that'll be kind of cool to watch. Okay, so this last week we lost somebody.
Yeah.
And that was George Foreman.
The novelty grill guy.
Yep. 74, 76?
Something like that. Yeah, he's up there.
Let's play a little clip real quick.
So if you like your food lean, mean, and tasty, don't forget to pick up one on your way out.
Mr. Foreman, sir, I know you don't know me, but I'd like a minute of your time.
You want a grill?
No, sir. I'm pretty well set for grills. I sell them for a living, along with propane and propane accessories.
Good man. What can I do for you?
Well, my niece Luann challenged your daughter to a boxing match, and she's not even in Frida's league. But I haven't been able to bring myself to tell her that. So I was thinking if you guys can drop out of the fight, Luann won't get her feelings hurt, or her face hurt for that matter.
I respect that you want to protect your niece. You know I didn't want my daughter to become a boxer. Neither did Mohammed. But Joe Frazier, on the other hand, he had his baby girl boxing in the crib.
So you'll cancel the fight, champ?
You got it.
Thank you. You're acting just like I'd expect a gold medalist to.
Hey, maybe there's something you can do for me. How'd you feel about carrying my grill in your shop?
Oh, sorry, we have a strict policy about that. No novelty grills.
Novelty grill?
Yeah, you know, no offense, but your grill is kind of like an iron.
You calling my grill an iron? I've been hit below the belt before, but nothing like this.
I think it's a great product for dieters or little girls who want to play barbecue, but you can't compare it to a propane-powered grill.
Fight's on!
What? No.
I said fight's on. What's the matter? Smelling all that propane cause you brain damage? That's what it does, you know.
No, that is not accurate. Those studies were all done on sick monkeys. And at least my grill isn't sold in housewares.
Let it go, Daddy. He ain't worth it.
You're right. George 3, get this man out of my face.
From what I understand and what I've always heard, George Foreman was a really, really nice guy.
Yeah, that's what I've never heard anything bad about him.
People don't say bad things about him. He was fantastic on King of the Hill. You know my favorite part of that clip right there?
What's that?
Is the Chuck Mangione music playing in the background.
Oh, you can hear it playing. Yeah, you can barely hear it, but it feels so good. Yeah,
it's piped in the
They use it a lot in the show, yeah.
But George Foreman, again,
oldest heavyweight boxer ever, right?
Yep, one of the best ever.
Didn't he hold the title as the oldest ever to hold it?
So.
I think.
Yeah. But we lost him this last week, and I mean, what are you going to do about it? You can't really do anything other than say he was a great guy. So anyway, he's got 5 more kids named George Foreman, if that helps. All right, so I have a little article here posted by Lone Star Live. These are the same folks that have the article about us.
Yeah, awesome.
This is by Taylor Kemitz. I'm
same
sorry,
person.
Taylor, if I'm not saying the name
That's
correct.
the same person.
Same person?
That's the one that I reached out to. I'm in contact with.
This was March 21st, 2025. This article is entitled King of the Hill fans can prep for rebooting by decoding unintelligible words of creator's character. So it's very short. It's just one little page here. It says, did you know there's a way to make sense of the seemingly nonsensical gibberish of a fan favorite King of the Hill character utters? You can do it just in time for the reboot. Mike Judge, the co-creator of the animated series, is gearing up for its long-awaited revival, is a jack of many voice acting trades. His ability to create varying voices for characters like Hank Hill and Boomhauer in King of the Hill is proof. But to better prepare for personality traits and quirks of adult Bobby Hill in the revival, rewatching episodes from the first 13 seasons only makes sense. All of the characters on the show, including Hank Hill's oddball group of neighborhood besties, help shape Bobby into the professional chef he apparently becomes in the reboot. The only issue is that Hank's friend Boomhauer often speaks unintelligible sentences, making it hard for viewers to grasp what he means quite literally any time he speaks. But it turns out Judge isn't mumbling a bunch of nonsense, and Boomhauer actually has a script of sorts. To follow along and get inside Boomhauer's mind while watching King of the Hill, just turn on closed captions. Whenever Boomhauer speaks, it'll show the words he's actually saying that many have missed over the years. That is the entire article. But I think it's a really good point that if you will start turning the captions on, folks, you will find
Or reading
all
the scripts.
kinds of
Yeah.
all kinds of little Easter eggs in not only King of the Hill but other shows. There's
That's why I watch everything with subtitles.
Yeah. Well, there's
everything I watch with subtitles.
There's that
I don't
famous
care what
one-
language it's in.
there's a ton of those famous memes where it's like eats in Spanish or something like that, and that kind of stuff. Those kind of things just thrill me whenever I see those come up.
Yeah.
But to see what Boomhauer is actually saying, yes, your closed caption will help you out quite a bit. Now, talking about voices that Mike Judge does, I have been watching
Common Side Effects.
Common Side Effects.
Yeah.
And I think I've spotted at least 3 characters that he does the voice for.
He does the one for the guy who owns the pharmaceutical
Does
company.
it for the
yeah.
main pharmaceutical guy. He is the CEO of the pharmaceutical company.
Who just games randomly and stuff.
Yeah.
He's like a video gamer.
He's
It's really
playing
funny.
well.
yeah.
He's playing one of the Facebook games where he's got a goat that he puts roller skates on and stuff.
yeah.
But this show is very different from what I expected. I have been, I guess, quote unquote, sick the last few days. Had a thing done to my back, and I've just been kind of laying around. But in that time, I've sat there and I've watched a bunch of stuff. And one of the things I've been watching, and I think I've got one episode to go, is this Common Side Effects. I expected it to be like a wacky, King of the Hill type show. It is not. It's
the
almost
jokes
drama.
are more subtle. Yeah.
It's almost drama.
Whatever jokes there are there, that's very
Yeah.
subtle. Yeah.
A lot of great voices, a lot of great characters in this thing. It is, it's really well done. Now, it's a weird type of animation where it's like almost every other frame or something like that, where it's a little herky-jerky feeling. But you get used to it after a while. And some of the stuff that's done in it, like the glowing of this and this thing doing that, really quite forward thinking as far as this stuff goes. Now, some of the pieces in this remind me, and tell me if you ever watched any of this. Did you ever watch any of the Behind the Tour Bus stuff he did? Mike Judge did?
You talking about the animated music stuff? Yeah, I've seen some of it.
Some of it feels a little like that, in that it's gotten to where in some of this animation you get more realistic type drawings in some frames. The only thing I can compare it to, and this is silly, but the only thing I can compare it to is Ren and Stimpy. You remember when Ren and Stimpy, like, if somebody had a sore on their face, they would get real tight, and you'd see all the
little bumps
stuff,
and hairs
right?
and
You'd
stuff
see
like that.
everything,
Yeah.
right? Whereas the regular animation would just be regular animated cartoon looking stuff. This is kind of the same thing, but at one point, the 2 agents that are assigned this case, they are talking about this corridor of killings that have happened in Texas, of mass shootings.
Yeah.
Which, not super funny, but they talk about Colleen being one of the first ones ever.
At the Lubies?
At the Lubies.
Yeah.
Yep. I did not realize that was one of the first ones, but then you go up.
This is one of the first major ones, yeah.
Then you go up 35, and then you get to Waco, and you get to Oklahoma City, and you get, there's so many along that little corridor there.
Austin, too. Austin.
He talks about Dealey Plaza. Not Dealey Plaza, but he talks about the shooter in the tower.
The Austin Watch, the clock tower or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, which all of those are very realistic looking drawings that are in there.
Oh, they also had that one at Fort Hood, too.
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned the one at Fort Hood. But they're talking about like where they're going to be sent next. And it's funny because this show does not all take place in Texas like Mike Judge usually does. You know?
It's a little sporadic.
Yeah, it's New York, it's this, it's there, it's all over the place. But which I like to see it spread out. I'm not a big fan of New York based shows, whereas I'm also not a big fan of like LA based shows, because it's all they seem to talk about.
There's more to America than
Right.
those 2 coasts.
I'd much rather see something that happens in middle Minnesota,
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Which I've been watching Fargo, so that's why I brought that one up. But it's funny, though, because you know that the influence of Mike Judge is, let's talk about the shootings, but let's talk about them all in this corridor.
Yeah, the
'cause it's
corridor
all
that he lives
Texas.
in, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's an Austinite.
Yeah, he talks about Austin, talks about Waco, talks about Colleen, and then, of course, Oklahoma City, and then how the guy in Oklahoma City was enamored with what happened in Waco, and all of that kind of stuff. So, but it's a very good show. If you guys have Max, go try it out. It's not a bad show at all. I am enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it like I thought I would, which I thought would just be a few jokes here and there. But the show in and of itself is very well done. Very well done. Have you seen any of it?
I watched the first episode. I haven't watched any more of it than that.
I didn't know it's all Adult Swim who produced it.
Yeah.
So even though it's like 20-something minutes per episode, these are actual episodes. These aren't like your...
Well, Adult Swim's got longer shows on there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. These aren't like your 12, 15-minute,
animation shorts.
Yeah.
Most animation is 12 minutes long. That's the world they live in for a lot of their stuff. And that's why you've got like they used to do with like Dexter's Lab, and even the Rugrats did it, where they would have 12 minutes, and then that would be that episode.
Like 2 of them per...
And they would do it. They would do a 30-minute time slot, but they would only have 2 episodes of the show, back to back kind of thing.
Yeah. I am.
Or they would have. They would have 12 minutes of one show, and then like 6.5 minutes of 2 other random ones that's inside of that show. Like, what was it? Dexter's Lab had the Justice Friends or whatever it was. It was like a cut cartoon in between Dexter's Lab.
Yeah,
they would have stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, shit. Even the Simpsons. They'd have the Itchy and Scratchy.
Itchy and Scratchy stuff.
Up,
yeah.
That kind of thing. But anyway, if you haven't watched that, please go watch it. It's been very good. I've been super surprised as to the way this show is made.
Or with Two Stupid Dogs, they brought Secret Squirrel and Morocco Mole back. So in between segments
up,
for that,
Ant?
they would do that.
Good to see you. Black Ant's here. Artie's still here. Good to see you guys. That's really all we got for a Friday this week, guys. Do you have anything else that has come up in the last week or so that you want to refer to?
I've been watching a lot of World War II movies.
World War II movies?
I found a list on Reddit. So a guy had taken most, and not all World War II movies, but like most of them that are based on something factual, instead of it just being, fact-based fiction.
Right.
Most of them are like actual stories or slight dramatizations of actual stories, and I've been watching some pretty good movies. I've watched some French foreign films and stuff, and Czechoslovakian. So that's what I recommend. Like if you're watching all these World War II films, go find that list. And
Black Ant says Cow and Chicken has I Am Weasel, which
I Am Weasel.
One of my favorites.
I Am Weasel. That was the one I was trying to think of too. Yeah, I Am Weasel. Yeah. But the way he's got the list set up is he breaks it down by like major events, and then he'll list as many movies as he could find in those events. So some of them it's like the invasion of Austria or the invasion of Czechoslovakia or stuff like that. A lot of those stories are told better by the people that lived in it, because there's like American-made or British-made films that are made about the Czechoslovakia thing or the Polish invasion thing or whatever, but they were actively making movies in the 40s and stuff right after all that stuff just happened. They were making these movies about it. Right. So a lot of those movies, and then even the newer movies that are, within the last 30 years, when I say newer, the ones that are done in those places just seem to be better. Like the movies that are made in Czechoslovakia about Czechoslovakian issues are better. My whole point is just because a movie you have to read the subtitles or maybe watch a dubbed English version of it on a streaming website, don't give a movie a chance. I've watched a lot of good movies that way.
I'm a big fan of found footage stuff.
Yeah,
I like creepy, weird found footage horror stuff.
Yeah, I like that stuff too.
I watched one last night called the Ulster haunting, the haunting of Ulster, or something.
That's
like that.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, it's
Ulster's.
in Ireland. It's basically an Ireland tribute to something called Ghost Watch that was made, I think it was 90s. That was supposed to be 70s or something like that. But and I'm a huge fan of like Hell House, the Hell House LLC movies. We've been able to talk to some of the directors and actors, and the director and some of the actors and stuff from those movies. And there's a new one coming out. So I'm looking forward to maybe popping that sucker back up. But anyway, I watched that Ulster one yesterday, and it was fine. It wasn't the best thing I've ever watched. But you know what? Here's what I think about all of those found footage movies, especially the ones that you find on like YouTube or whatever. And by the way, Casey said that there's some channel out there now, there's an app that you can get on Roku that it's just found footage stuff. It's like $40 a year to watch all of the found footage stuff ever.
The one I watch has got a bunch of weird stuff on it. It's kind of like found footage, I guess. It's called Eternal Family TV.
Yeah.
And it's full.
I've seen that.
It's like $7 a month. Yeah,
it's weird as hell.
Yeah, it's like $7 a month. It's kind of set up to where they have like a channel that just streams stuff randomly that you could just click and watch idly, or you could select through their content. But that's had some pretty weird shit. Animation, because they put a lot of stuff on there. They put animation, documentaries, movies,
it feels
short
very
films.
much like almost like a what do you call those channels that you could go in and pay $50 and make a show? The like community access channels kind of thing, where they show a bunch of stuff.
Well, yeah, I'd say similar to that, but what Eternal Family TV or whatever has a lot of is just really, really, really obscure media, and some of it is
public access.
Has popular people who are popular now. Might not have been when they made the movie, but it was like Tom Hanks in that D&D movie that he did. Like nobody would ever know that.
Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun.
Nobody would ever think to see Tom Hanks in a
what's in that his movie? Jack Sparrow in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was his first one. So here's most of the information I get, and I know this has nothing to do with King of the Hill, but I'm telling you guys anyway because you're my friends. So I go to r/found footage on Reddit, and they have lists, and I try to go down those lists and kind of watch what people talk about. There is one called Lake Mungo that people will bring up a lot. Lake Mungo is a bad movie. But for some reason people love it, and I don't understand it because it's really slow and it's really bad. I enjoy Hell House. I like all of them. I think the last one was probably the best one because it's like a prequel kind of thing. But I really enjoyed Blair Witch, of course. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Or when I was an
Blair
adult,
Witch was
honestly.
rough.
Paranormal Activity, I think the first couple are really, really well done. See, Black Ant, you say you like Lake Mungo. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But hey, you know, that's what found footage is about, right? There was one on here I was going to talk about, Troll Hunter. If you haven't seen Troll Hunter, please go watch Troll Hunter.
Here you go. Here's
very well done. Very well done.
The lost footage iceberg at the very bottom here. August Underground series, Guinea Pig Devil's Experiment, Guinea Pig 2, Flower of Flesh and Blood.
Guinea Pig 2.
That's funny.
Cloverfield, of course, is one of my favorites.
Yeah, those are
Cloverfield's got a big budget, so
those are the top
a little
ones.
Different.
Apollo 18.
And then some of the VHS stuff is pretty good. I like the VHS stuff because it's anthology based.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did. Rusty says he likes the name Mungo. I did see that
I've never seen that one.
There's a new trailer out for a new season of Black Mirror, which that excites me quite a bit because I do enjoy all of the Black Mirror. Even the last ones I thought were good, like the one where the lady's trapped in Netflix. I thought was pretty good. So anyway, there you go. Just a little bit extra for you. If you have some found footage stuff you really like, send it to us. I would love to watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
I wouldn't mind doing a show just on found footage stuff. I thought it'd be kind of cool. But that's all I got. Thank you again, guys, for being here. We appreciate it. We mentioned I Am Weasel. We mentioned Lake Mungo. If you can't get that and you're in every show, then make
Train
sure
to Busan was pretty rough. Have you seen that?
Which one?
Train to Busan.
Yeah, that one's pretty
rough.
That
was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Taking a Deborah Logan is pretty good.
Whenever I was doing the stuff for, I can't remember the name of their podcast now. What's the name of that? The Scary Movie podcast?
Boobays?
Yeah, Boobays. I wanted to say something. I knew it was Bay something. I just didn't know what the first part was. They did a couple. They did one that I watched because whenever I was doing helping them out with their social media stuff, I was watching the movies that they were watching. There was one called Something Megahertz.
Yeah,
and it was just about like a specific frequency.
About that sound. Yeah, that drives everybody nuts.
But the thing that was driving me nuts is I would just randomly hear that sound and certain thing. I would be listening to something or something, and I'd hear that specific frequency, and I'm like, "Whoa!"
You know,
it made me feel weird.
I told you I had the back thing done, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm laying on my chest while they're digging into my back.
Yeah.
And they said, we're not going to knock you completely out for this because we want to kind of know that we're in the right position and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you. You have machines. Why don't you do it? But anyway, so they get me super high, and I'm face down. And at some point, I guess I went to sleep, right? And I woke up, and my nose had run onto the thing. And so I was a little embarrassed. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I fell asleep, and my nose ran on the thing. And they were like, don't worry about that. We're not worried about that part. They said the only thing we worry about is brownouts. I was like, oh, shit. I didn't even think about that, but I guess every once in a while somebody will shit their pants while they're being operated on.
Oh, that's rough.
And so I'm like, well, I guess if you put it in that context, I did really well. You know?
Yeah, you did really, really good. Yeah.
I didn't shit on the doctor, so there you go. Yeah,
I think that would be cool. We don't have nowhere where we could set up something like that for like a public view. Not you shitting yourself, but like a.
That's a show.
I don't know.
Like operations?
No, like a weird movie night. Like do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. We could do like a watch along kind of thing.
Yeah, where we do a weird movie night.
Yeah, if you guys
whether
would
we
be up
do
for
it
that, I'd love
with
to
whether we
watch
do it with these guys or we do it here locally and have people come and watch something.
I'd love to do it with these guys because these guys show up.
We can do it here.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you guys have a movie you want to watch, maybe we start a poll or something where we have like 5 or 6 of them.
We do have a Discord still. I just haven't shared it with the world. We do have a Discord where we could watch movies and do that.
Yeah, I'd do that. All right, guys. Thank you again for being here on a Friday. We really appreciate it. Check us again on Monday. We will have a brand new episode. This last week we did Season 7, Episode 13, so we'll be moving on to 14.
Yeah.
And you want to tell them where they can find us?
You can find us at BWAAAKOTH, and that is on most social media. You can email us as well at BWAAAKOTH@gmail.com. And we still owe stickers and stuff, but I guess we really got to work on that. I've still got all the addresses and stuff of people that sent me their address. Also, if you haven't sent me your address, go to the YouTube, scroll down a little bit on the community page, and there's a link still there where you can send me your address and stuff.
Terrible.
But yeah, Weematanye.
By the way, just real quick, and I'll get to Weematanye. There is one called Cigarette Burns that was done by... it's a famous director, and I can't remember who it is. But anyway, it was done for HBO for this anthology series they did. If you ever get a chance to watch Cigarette Burns, that one will creep you the hell out. It's very good.
Yeah, it's
not really a found footage kind of thing. It's more about angels and stuff, but it's very, very good. And by the way, for me as well, John Carpenter, thank you very much, Black Ant.
Yeah, I like John Carpenter.
Weematanye. We'll see you guys.
Weematanye, indeed.
Bwaaa trucks fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of